Nothing hypes me up like a good romance, especially in my favorite anime and manga. See, I don't just have ships. I have entire naval fleets dedicated to my love of the love between my favorite fictional characters, whether canon or fanon. Join me as I count down, in no particular order, both my personal and fan favorite couples, both past and present, in anime and manga, why they make such a great couple, and why I will always go down with that ship. P.S. Beware of major spoilers for the following anime and manga. First up, we've got Chi-Chi and Goku. Yeah, right, as if. Up first, we've got Android 18 and Krillin. These two, next to Bulma and Vegeta, are my favorite example of a bad bitch and her medium ugly man. However, very much unlike Bulma and Vegeta, where it's strongly implied, according to their son Trunks, that it was just a superficial one-night stand that was over as quickly as it started, we actually witness in both anime and manga form the beginnings of Android 18 and Krillin's relationship before and after the Cell Saga. We see Android 18 give him a kiss for good luck, and later Krillin spares Android 18's life when given the choice to activate her self-destruct sequence, standing up to Vegeta in the process. The most obvious hint of Krillin and Android 18's feelings for one another is revealed when he asks Shenron to remove the bombs implanted inside her body. Despite being a little embarrassed, Android 18 acknowledges that this was truly a kind thing for him to do. The two later marry and have a daughter. Both are shown to be very happy together, training often, raising their family, and growing old together. Krillin greatly admires his wife's strength and willingly goes to any and all lengths to make sure that she's happy. How can you not love these two? Remember back in the day when good old casual homophobia actually thought American fans would buy these two being cousins for the 2000 North American dub of Naoko Takeuchi's Sailor Moon? Yeah, no. Literally no one with the ability to read subtext and the manga believed that shit for a second. Haruka Tenno and Michiro Kayu, better known as Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune respectively, are a classic and beloved queer couple. Uranus and Neptune are famously dedicated to one another, both in their current lives as Sailor Scouts and in their past lives as the princesses of the Outer Senshi. They were introduced into the series together and are almost always at one another's side, both in and outside of battle. They demonstrate time and time again that their love is soul deep and beautifully rare. Back in 2017, Yuri on Ice became Japan's second most successful media franchise, as well as the highest ranked sports-themed anime of that year. It earned well over this big-ass number that I'm not even going to try and pronounce in record-breaking sales alone. Yuri on Ice is praised by critics as one of the best yaoi series to come out over the last decade. Yuri and Victor's relationship is a slow burn, but so worth it, and actually manages to stray away from a lot of the harmful tropes and themes you often see portrayed in boys' love media. Another beloved yaoi series that follows this pattern of healthy men's love is 2019's music anime Given. Given was also yet another critically acclaimed success, with the series being praised not only for its beautiful soundtrack and vocals, but its heavy and intense plot that centers around the members of the all-male band and the growing relationship between Mafuyu and Ritsuka as Mafuyu learns to find his voice following the tragic suicide of his ex-boyfriend. Ritsuka goes through the motions of not only coming out and accepting his feelings for him, but learning to support and guide him through his healing, all the while rediscovering his own love of music. Given is an intrinsic lesson on what it means to overcome loss and learning to turn sorrow into music that moves the soul. I bet you thought when it came time to talk about one of the best couples in the Naruto-verse, I'd immediately pick Naruto and Hinata. And yes, while they're certainly one of the best couples, and while Hinata definitely deserves all the props for her dedication towards her man, I'll always have a softer spot for Shikamaru and Temari, better known in the Naruto couple canon as Shikatema. I love this couple for the same reason that I love Krillin and Android 18. Not only do we see incredible personal growth from both characters over the course of the series, but when it's all said and done, Temari and Shikamaru were quite possibly the only organic couple in the end that didn't feel forced. Both in the anime and manga, you actually see how these characters' feelings for one another mature over time, and how they individually respond to their growing feelings for one another, typically in rather hilarious ways. Plus, you can't deny there's just something so adorable about that childhood awkwardness that neither of them seem to have outgrown. Their journey was not an easy one, and that's what makes their friendship, relationship, and later marriage the most believable one. While these two aren't technically a couple within the MHA canon yet, it's pretty hard to deny these two clearly have a thing for one another. I really like this pairing because it's refreshing. Watching these two interact inspires those pure-hearted feelings of first love that just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. They're constantly inspiring and inspired by one another, with both going to great lengths to protect one another in battle. The respect they have for one another as both individuals and as heroes really shines through, and we can only hope to see their friendship eventually blossom into something more. Also, while I'm here, I just want to give a quick shout out to my other favorite My Hero fan and ships, Totomomu, Dekubaku, and Dekubaku Toto. Die mad, haters, die mad. How's this for a throwback? A common misconception about this series is that despite the fact it was written by the legendary all-woman mangaka group known as Clamp, most people mistake Chobits for a shoujo series when it's actually part of the seinen genre, which, you know, becomes pretty obvious from this scene alone, plus the wonderful amount of fan service. Many remember Chobits as the cutesy love story between the hapless forever virgin but all-around good guy Hideki Motosua and the adorable android Persicom Chi, aka Elda. Their relationship explores what it means to love something that technically isn't alive and truly defines the definition of a living being. Plus, the anime's theme song, Let Me Be With You by Roundtable featuring Nino, will always be a bop. Like I stated at the very beginning of these videos, these next pairings are going to include major spoilers for the psychological masterpiece that is the Beastars manga and all 163 chapters thus far. So if you're not trying to ruin the anime for yourself, skip ahead to this time on the screen to bypass this section entirely. Also, we're about to stroll right into furry territory, and being that I myself am somewhere between a level 4 or 5 soft furry on a scale of 1 to 10, if any of that offends you, I recommend pausing this video so that you can walk outside and take a quick peek at the sky. If you squint just hard enough, you might be able to see the flying fuck I sent your way. From a creative standpoint, Beastars is absolutely one of my all-time favorite series, and you'll never be able to change my mind about this. The writing is absolutely fantastic, the unique and original artwork of both the anime and manga doesn't receive nearly half the praise it deserves, and the overall story is, in my own humble opinion, phenomenal and unlike any series presently on the market, which is exactly why I think it caught so many people off guard with how quickly it spiked in popularity. When it comes to the couples, hands down, my two favorite are Legacy and Haru and Juno and Lewis. If you're at all familiar with Beastars or just animal nature in general, you can see why a relationship between a wolf and a rabbit and a wolf and a deer might cause a few issues, especially given how seriously the crime of predation, i.e. a carnivore eating a herbivore, is treated within the integrated society of Beastars. This series is littered with common examples of interspecies couples where carnivores gave way to their instincts and ate their herbivore partner despite being in love with them, even to the effect of having half-breed children together. For this reason alone, carnivore-herbivore relationships are deeply frowned upon within the society of Beastars. With all that said, when it comes to Legacy and Haru, what makes their relationship so incredible is that it goes through the psychological motions of Legacy confronting his own feelings and core instincts to be with and later make the decision to marry and start a family with Haru. Haru herself, who, by the way, is easily one of my all-time favorite female protagonists in anime or manga, comes to accept that loving Legacy means rejecting any semblance of a socially acceptable life with. Not that she gives a damn, she loves her man, and proceeds to tell society to kiss her fluffy white ass. The same standard applies towards Juno and Lewis, both of whom first start out as stuck-up pureblood elitists but later fall for one another, with Juno literally admitting to the world on live television that she's in love with Lewis and she could give fuck all of what the world thinks of her for it. It's impossible not to cheer for these couples, and hopefully now that the Beastars manga is nearing its end, they'll receive the happy endings they've worked so hard for. Another couple that definitely deserves a mention is Sumire Iwaya and Takashi Momogoda from Yayoi Ogawa's Josei manga and multiple live actions Kimi wa Petto, better known by its inexplicable American title, Tramps Like Us. If you're looking for something different that accurately portrays the ups and downs of relationships, well, you found it. The power dynamics between Sumire and Momo are swapped to explore society's gender hypocrisies in the best way possible. Sumire herself is a hardcore career woman pushing 30 and dedicated to finding her ideal partner that matches her in height, age, salary, and education. Her live-in human pet and eventually husband, Momo, is not only 12 years her junior, but a professional dancer who is significantly shorter than her. Through various mishaps and ups and downs, miscommunications, and plenty of heartwarming moments, Sumire and Momo's relationship is every bit as endearing as the actual manga itself. Since Winry and Ed are kind of a given, I really wanted to focus more on the ultimate power couple in this franchise, Riza Hawkeye and Roy Mustang. Riza and Roy have not only known each other since seemingly forever, but they also know one another, right down to one another's faults, quirks, likes, dislikes, and thoughts. It can even be argued that Roy and Riza know one another better than they know themselves. These two trust and support one another with their lives in ways that can only be admired. What's most important is that they both understand when to pull the other back from going over the edge, as evidenced when Riza was ready to kill Roy and then herself, if that's what it took to stop him from becoming a corrupted monster like the Fuhrer. These two are soulmates, plain and simple. Speaking of couples trying to survive in ultraviolet worlds, that brings us to the complex relationship between Alex Benedetto and Nicholas Brown from Kosuke's Gangsta. Like Deku and Ochako, this is an unofficial couple with obvious feelings for one another, but are yet to act upon them, in this instance for very different and way less innocent reasons. However, what can't be denied is Nick and Alex's feelings for one another, however complicated they may be. Nick and Alex are shown time and time again, both over the course of the manga and the sadly short-lived anime, that they understand one another on an intrinsic and profound level. incredible. I can't really say what the future holds for these two, but given the ultra-violent world they live in, it's unlikely we'll see these two together. But hey, I can dream, right? Yet another tragic couple that will always be close to my heart are Nana Osaki and Rin Honjo, created by the queen of shoujo and josei manga herself, Ai Yazawa. While it can certainly be argued that Rin and Nana's relationship was toxic from the get-go, built upon emotional and mental dependency due to their own individual and deeply seated personal traumas, you'd be hard-pressed to find any fan of this series that wasn't praying for these two to have a happy ending. However, what makes Ai Yazawa such an effective writer and Nana such a brilliant series is the message that life doesn't always have a happy ending. Sometimes, and more than often, life will end abruptly short, brutally, and seemingly unfairly, as evidenced by Ren's sudden death while driving through the snow during his battle with addiction. I'm not sure what's worse, the fact that Nana has been on a decade-long hiatus due to Yazawa taking ill, or that because of the hiatus, lifetime fans of Nana still have so many questions that could possibly go unanswered indefinitely. Either way, though short-lived, the love Nana and Ren had for one another was true as it was passionately tragic. And since this list is clearly full of sad anime couples that will crush your soul, why not keep the ball rolling a little longer with an OG favorite, Kaji and Masato, who I will never not believe deserve so much better. Very much like Ren and Nana, Kaji and Masato's relationship was seemingly doomed from the beginning. Both were too traumatized, haunted by the ghost of their past to have anything resembling a stable relationship that wasn't based on sex, despite the fact they understood each other better than they knew themselves. What makes their relationship so bittersweet is that they clearly loved one another. They just never had the chance to say it before Kaji was killed and Masato killed herself in an attempt to save Shinji. Part of me wants to believe that in the new world Shinji creates after the events of the manga, that Masato and Kaji are happily living the lives they were meant to. Okay, I am clearly triggering my depression, so this is going to be the last sad couple on this list, and then we are moving on. I'm keeping Kasuga and Guts short because as far as tragic goes, it's hard to top these two. With the manga perpetually swinging between hiatus and continuation, it's anyone's guess how the hell things will play out, so all we can do as fans is hope for a happy ending. Next! Oh, god damn it. Okay, fine. One last one. For real this time. Believe it or not, I only recently, as in just last week, got into Gurren Lagann, so many of you can probably guess where I'm going with this. However, although sad they may be, Kamiya and Yoko and Simon and Nia aren't tragic couples to me. If anything, they are profoundly bittersweet, and a hard lesson in cherishing your loved ones while they're still here. This is very much the case with Simon and Nia, from the way Nia chooses to spend her final moments with the one she loves, to the beautiful manner in which Simon continues to honor her memory even decades after she's gone. Either way, my heart will always break for Yoko. Alright, no more sad shit past this post. Let's bring the energy back up with Kaoru and Kenshin. And no, I am not counting the non-canon events of the OVAs. These two are another beloved favorite whose love has endured across generations of anime and manga fans. While Rurouni Kenshin certainly has its heavier moments, the series is overall underscored by the unrelenting love Kaoru and Kenshin have for one another. This is definitely a couple that earned their happy ending, with Kaoru learning to accept that Tomoe will always be a part of Kenshin, and Kenshin learning to accept his past and that it's okay to open his heart to love once more and move forward in order to be happy with Kaoru. Following the events of the manga, Kaoru and Kenshin live happily with their son Kenji. And speaking of learning to let go, this brings us to another beloved feudal fairy tale, Inuyasha. Inuyasha and Kagome's relationship had a pretty rough start, but you can't deny these two both grew as individuals and as partners, and we, the fans, loved almost every second of it. Though at times it seemed like they would never get their shit together, following a painful 3-year separation from one another, Inuyasha and Kagome are finally reunited when Kagome permanently returns to the feudal era. She and Inuyasha marry, and the two live out their days together as guardians of Kaede's village. Moroku and Sango also get married and have 3 children, 2 twin girls, and as of the final chapter, a newborn son. Anyone that knows me knows Fruits Basket is one of my all-time favorite series and a beloved shoujo classic praised worldwide. I've even talked about it in past videos and blogs for Noir Caesar. What starts off as a cutesy, bubbly series about a family cursed to turn into the 13 animals of the Chinese zodiac when hugged by a member of the opposite sex quickly takes several dark and abrupt psychological left turns that makes it the masterpiece that it is. And while there's several couples in the series I absolutely love, I want to focus primarily on Toru Honda and Kyo Soma. Their relationship draws many parallels between that of Beauty and the Beast, just, with way less Stockholm Syndrome, and serves as a beautiful and messy emotional coming-of-age story. The overall message of Toru and Kyo's relationship is that if you can genuinely overcome tragedy, past traumas, and pain, and learn to love and forgive yourself, all the while opening your heart once more, life can truly work its miracles in ways you never even allowed yourself to imagine. Finally, we reach the end of our list, and I've saved the best for last. This last one is the ultimate in romance, drama, and slice of life manga. Will You Marry Me Again If You Were Reborn, written by Miku Morinaga, tells the life story of an elderly married couple named Kaoru and Toranosuke Ibuki as they recall their younger years. The beauty of Kaoru and Toru's lifelong journey together is that unlike many mainstream romance titles, it unabashedly explores and depicts the couple's hardships on the road that leads them to happily ever after, such as Kaoru reconciling the horrible childhood abuse she endured, her being significantly older, the trouble this presents as she struggles to become pregnant, and even the heart-wrenching experience of barely surviving her first child's birth. What's more is that Will You Marry Me Again If You Are Reborn also gives a very realistic look at the many struggles elderly couples face, such as Toru growing ill, his frustrations towards his inevitable death, the pain at the mere thought of leaving Kaoru behind, as well as Kaoru's fear of being left behind. I'm honestly getting choked up just thinking about it, so I'll end it with this. Will You Marry Me Again If You Are Reborn is a masterpiece in of itself, and I cannot recommend it enough. Fair warning, you'll probably cry every chapter, but it's so worth it for a glimpse of the love many of us one day hope to find.